Hi guys, today Charlie, who's a former student of mine, joins me online to help me with a 30-minute game jam. And hi Charlie.
Hello, Almas.
And today, to do that, we're going to run this random word generator a couple of times to give us some random words. And your task, Charlie, is to come up with gameplay. And to make that as simple as possible for me to implement. My task would be to implement this gameplay in about 30 minutes using FXGL with the aim to see what kind of things FXGL lacks in terms of sort of prototyping and game jams, because the development is slightly different to long-term game development. Okay, shall we run this thing? And then you'll tell me if you like the 3 words that you see. Can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, good. How about that?
Okay, city, disk, device. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, I'll give you about a minute to kind of think this through and then see if we can come up with gameplay that will involve city, disk, and device. In terms of genre, anything apart from platformer probably, because platformer is going to take a bit of time and I would not want to do that in the first video of the series.
Yeah. What about you have a device that detects disks that's scattered around the city and you need to find the disks?
Okay, that was quick. Yeah, you'll have to elaborate on that a little bit. For now, I'm just going to have the title City Disk Device is going to be the title of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll do. Are we going HD?
Yep.
Right, so we need, what do we need?
So it's a top-down sort of game, and then you have a character, several buildings, and you have paths, and there will be disks sort of lying around the paths.
Okay, so we need controllable main character.
Yup, a main character.
New player, and that is going to be, well, we don't have any assets, so we're going to use software generate shapes like rectangles, circles, and so on.
Yep.
Right, we also need to define the types. So what types do we have? Entity type. We have player.
Player. Yep. And disks.
Mm-hmm.
Building. Does that count as a?
I suppose if it interacts with us somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. So building is basically a place that you can't go to, and
Entity builder from data type is entity type player.
Yep.
And it needs to be collidable. So the player is able to collect disks.
Yes.
Okay. So we need a bounding box as well. U with bounding box, new rectangle. Let's make the player blue. And what color are we going to make disks?
Red.
Okay. So the disk. Is that how they spell it? Yeah.
Yeah.
New disk. Let's import that. Disk. What about size?
Size slightly smaller than player.
Okay, let's do half that.
20, yeah.
Collidable bounding box. So this is all set up. Now initialize game, initialize physics. On collision begin. So are they like collectibles?
Yes, collectibles.
Okay. think the first type is the collector type, so it's player who's collecting. It's a
Yep.
T-type player. And then the collectible is the disk. And it's passed in when it's collected. Right, so how do we need to spawn some stuff. So we need our player, I suppose, somewhere in the middle.
Yep.
Okay, let's give this a go. So what other stuff are we going to have then?
So we'll be having several buildings. To sort of make a city. And then player can travel through the city on the path to collect discs.
Okay, so we need some sort of building object kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's bigger.
Yup. Probably pass in the size, or what do you think?
Oh, you mean different sizes? Okay, yeah. So it's width. And then height. And then we'll have different buildings.
Maybe make disk a circular object.
Okay.
Support circular objects.
New circle.
Circle. Brilliant.
Width, height. So all of this is here. Now we need to spawn some buildings. How are we going to generate them? Is it going to be randomly based?
Is that easy to implement?
Yep. Yep, that's fine. So how many buildings do we have?
Maybe 6.
Let's go with 6 then. Spawn building, then just place it in a random location.
Yeah.
I suppose we also want width and height to be random.
Yup.
What's the range between something and something? What do you think the range should be?
100.
So between 100 and what?
And 0.
Oh. You mean like 0 width?
Oh, you mean the width?
Yeah, the width of the building.
50 to 100, something like that.
And then same with height?
Yeah.
So width, height. And we're going to spawn it as well in a random location. So random.
Nice.
I think this will do the trick. Let's see.
Look.
So these are our.
Good. Maybe make the building larger than.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go with 150 and 300. Yeah. And we also need to change the color because red is, our pickups are red.
Oh, right.
Brown.
Brown, yeah. Sounds good.
Brown and black. Something darker.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are our buildings.
Yeah, this is pretty good. So I would think that maybe spawn the discs and maybe spawn player first and then spawn buildings. And then we need to make sure that if building collides with player, that building will get removed and then it will spawn somewhere else and then
Okay.
we spawn discs. And if the disc collides with building or player, it spawns somewhere else.
Okay, so that everything is spawned in its own position sort of thing.
Yeah.
Shall we do it in a grid-based format then? Because what I'm thinking is... Well,
If that's supported, that
yeah,
would
I'm
be...
thinking if we kind of do it something like that. So if we go from here, which is like that, and we increase by, say, 20, and then that gives us sort of almost grid-like placement.
Oh,
And then random billion with 20% chance, maybe less than that. Then a building will be spawned.
like that.
Yeah, and then we don't need random point. We need it to be X and Y.
Yep.
Let's try that. Wow, that's too many buildings.
Too many buildings. Lower
Yeah.
the chance a bit, maybe. Yeah.
Still a lot.
Still a lot. Maybe increase the gap size.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. So if we want to do... Oh yeah, because the buildings are huge now.
Yeah.
Let's go 150.
Uh-huh.
And then something like that.
Yep. Mm.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then we can spawn the player somewhere. Well, what we could do is cheat and position the player at 0, 0.
Yep.
That means we just don't start at 0, 0. So
Yeah.
if X is 0 and Y is 0, then just continue.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so we want to find the quickest solution possible. So our player will always spawn there, and we will guarantee, because of this thing, that no building will be spawned there.
Yep.
Now, what makes this difficult is finding a path, but we'll come to that. So we need to spawn disks now.
Yep.
How do we spawn disks? Do we check if this should be a building, then place a building, else do another chance check?
I think that's a good idea, yeah. Do that.
And then if 10% doesn't work, then we roll it, the dice again to get another 10%
Yeah.
chance check.
Mm-hmm.
And then if that succeeds, we create a new disk.
Yep.
And we position it X and Y. Right, so what kind of things are we going to have now? We need to, yeah, I'll figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because, huh? Why is it?
Well, it's because the buildings are larger than the gap.
Oh yeah, so it's 150 to 300. So this has to go maximal, basically.
Yeah. And then we can increase the building chance slightly.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. Otherwise, it's...
Yeah.
Let's do 30% maybe. Because we are not going to have too many slots now for buildings.
Nope.
Yeah, maybe something like that. but we don't
Yeah.
have that many.
I think maybe make building and disk both 50%. Try that. Something like that.
Possibly, yeah. Well, we'll stick for this with this for now.
For now.
Yeah. We'll need to add controls. And meanwhile, you can talk me through other stuff that we can do with this as well.
Let's do control first. What I'm thinking is we could make the disks invisible, and then when the player approaches the disk, like we get some sort of indicator, like beeping on the side.
I like this. Yep, so I'll just do the standard keys. And we need reference to the player. Translate. This is translating Y, so this is going up, which means it's minus.
Yep.
This is going down. This is left to right. Okay, so we can move now.
Nice.
There's no collision detection because there's no top-down view component, top-down move component, which is actually a good thing because I now know what other things we can add. Well, we can collect disks. It doesn't do anything, but we can collect them.
Brilliant.
So now we need to make them invisible, which means we're going to spawn them invisible. Visibility, opacity. You can set the opacity to 0.
Yep.
No, that's a building. It's disk. And how do we detect them?
So by range. So if you are close to it, the bip will be more frequent. If you are further away from it, the bip will be not so frequent.
So it's going to light up, or its opacity is going to change?
Yeah, do that, yeah.
So it's disk component. Yeah, for that I'll probably need the component. So it's basically on update is we're looking for, well, we need to reference the player so we can check where the player is. If player is null, then just reset it. Get singleton entity type player, because there's only one player, so we can call a singleton on it. That means player reference is now usable, and so we need to check the range. So if player distance to this, so to the disk.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's the distance return. So distance needs to be greater or smaller than something.
Yeah.
Less than
10, 20.
20. That's going to be pixels. I think that's okay. Let's do 20 and see. Maybe that will be fine actually. So if the distance is less than 20 pixels, then we need to do something with opacity.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's entity, view component, set opacity to, we also want it as a kind of a function of some sort. So we don't just want to make it 1 and 0. We have to,
yeah, like dimmer or brighter.
Yeah, based on this thing.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to be a value.
Yeah. So it's just the distance to the box divided by 20
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, something like that. So it's opacity divided by 20. So if this is greater than 20, then this is going to be more than 1, which is, I think, is fine because JavaFX will accept this. If it's less than 20, then I'm getting closer, and this is going to be reduced. So it's 1 minus opacity, I think.
Yes, 1 minus that.
1 minus that, and make sure that this has a maximum of 1. So it's math max. Maximum of 1. No, it's, I always get confused. It's 1. Minimum.
Oh, right. 1 or that. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever is smaller. Yeah, that'll do. And then we'll do that. Because that will never be minus, because distance can't be minus.
No.
Which means it will be 0 to any other value, and that any other value is going to be capped at 1. And when it is 1, this is going to be this is going to be 0, which is good. Yeah. And all I need to do is add this component to our disk. And it should just magically work, I think. So good news is I can't see disks. There we go. Yeah, 20 I think is not helping. Let's increase it. So 20 is that much.
Oh, nice. Maybe make the range larger or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Something like 50.
Yep.
Okay, we've got about 7-ish more minutes, I think. What else can we do?
Add collision box for the building.
So we don't go through them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that feasible?
Possibly. Yeah, because I was thinking to implement that in top-down move component, but it might be doable. Which is we'll need something like player component. So buildings have bounding blocks, which is good. And then all these moves are going to be part of this.
Yep.
Move left. Move up. So for those who haven't used this before, this basically calls this one by name. Yeah, it uses reflection to find that move left. Because it saves a couple of clicks, like otherwise you'd need to do something like this, which is
quite long.
Yeah. So that's that. Now here we need to first know what the things are that we're colliding against, and these are the buildings.
Yep.
Player component. So because we know the player is going to be added last, let's just assume that these have been created so the buildings occupy buildings are already part of the world, so I can just do this. Get game world, get by type. And I need building.
Yep.
So this will give us buildings. How are we going to do the collision check? So we're going to move left, which is something like five units. And so we move 1 pixel, we check, and we move back, basically, is my approach.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to check sign of x, whether it's right or left.
Yeah.
I think the general approach goes like this. Translate if buildings find filter building is colliding with player, which is entity. Find any is present.
We translate them back.
Huh?
And then we translate the player back if it collides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that means if collision, basically. And we need to move the opposite, which is that, depending on the sign of x. Let's move left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's try move left, and then, which is that and that. And then the rest I'll just keep as is for now, so we can do a quick check.
Yep.
That's really good that we've identified that we need this thing, which is top-down move component, which is something that can be implemented on the FXGL side of things. The users won't have to re-implement this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've added that component.
Oh, right. Component based.
Yeah, it's entity component. So I can move around just fine. If I move left, nice. I can't
Perfect. Move. Perfect, Dalmas. Perfect.
Now we need to do the same for
everything.
Yeah. I'm going to just copy and paste this, and I'll leave a to-do to then factor movement into top-down move component. Because we've got different types of move components. Like we've got cell-based move component, we've got a star-based move component. So all the complex things are actually there, and I missed the simpler thing. Move right is the same, just the reverse.
Yeah.
Move up is the same, but it's Y this time. Yeah. Move up, it's minus, yep, and then, yep, and it's the other way around, plus and minus. And luckily we have so many buildings this time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Cool, collision works. I can go off screen, but I don't care about that. Actually, that is easily fixable, I think, because we've got one of the components to do that. New keep on screen component. So that'll just automatically keep the player within the screen Yeah, so I can't go off screen now.
Nice. That's brilliant.
Yep, that's great. And
Very nice city as well.
yeah, we've got a city, we've got disks. I don't think we've got device, but I suppose this player thing could be a device.
Oh, the player itself is a device.
Yeah, and just to make things more official, I'm just going to call this device. So there's going to be a text on it that will say device.
Device.
Can you see it?
Fantastic. Yeah, that's our device, and it detects disk.
Yeah, in a city. Yeah, that's perfect. And the game name is City Disk Device version 00. Okay, that's great. And in about 30 minutes-ish, we got some things implemented. And we also learned that there might be a component here that tries to get away into the FXGL engine side of things, so that it's easier to develop similar games during game jams.
Yep.
On that note, I think we're going to wrap up. Thank you for helping me do gameplay part of this thing.
Yeah, it's amazing experience watching you code. Seriously, that was, yeah.
Thank you, I'm flattered. And well, if the audience likes it, then we might do a few game jams sometime in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so glad that we found that new component can be added now in the movement.
Yeah, it's great. It's going to be really useful for top-down movement, any kind of top-down movement, really.
Yep.
Is there anything you'd like to promote?
Promote? Nah.
Because you've been building some games as well.
Yeah, I am, but currently I'm focused on my Minecraft server, and yeah. Maybe in the future. Maybe in the future.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
thinking of using your engine to make a multiplayer game as well. So it would be really nice to have your multiplayer game feature added at some point as well.
Yeah, that'd be great, and that's exactly what's been happening actually. In the next major release, there will be TCP and UDP support.
Oh wow, fantastic.
Yeah, so that could be a good opportunity to start building some stuff. In any case, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.